Hey guys, and welcome to the first episode of Generations of the Grid. We're your hosts. I'm Wes,
I'm Candace.
I'm Damien.
and we really did I even say what our name was? Probably. We're Generations of the Grid. Okay. And the biggest part about our podcast is to help propel the fandom into the new stage of Power Rangers that's going to take place within the next couple of years. The more adult themed content, getting the fan base ready, transitioning us into what is hopefully more gore, more real life themes, real consequences, cussing, just anything, anything to kind of get us away from the childhood TV show that we know and love. Not too far away, obviously. It still has to have Power Rangers essence, but it's time to grow up, fans. Time to grow up. But before we get there, we want to take this first episode so you guys can get to know us as Power Rangers fans. We'll start off by saying the reason why we're called Generations of the Grid is because we're all from different age groups. We were all experiencing Power Rangers at different times in Power Rangers life. So, and then of course, like I said, we have the new generation coming up, completely starting over, essentially. So that's pretty much why we chose the name Power Rangers Transition Generations at this point. Like, it's people watching it with their kids now. Hopefully in about another 10 years, some people will be watching it with their grandkids. That's going to be crazy, but we got to get there. And we're not going to get there unless the fans embrace the future. Okay? Complain, critique, but support. Talk trash on social media, get in the comments, talk your trash, but buy the tickets. Watch the show. Because that's what it's about. That's why Sharknado has 10 movies. That's why the Fast Furious franchise has 10 movies. You complain, but you're spending your money, and that's why they're going to keep making it. So that's kind of what I want to start our journey off there. Critique, but support. So me as a fan, I came up in the Lost Galaxy, Lightspeed Rescue, Time Force, Wild Force, Ninja Storm era. So I'm a little after, the OGs, but definitely before the newbies that came in the Disney era. And I remember the hype around Wild Force and how it was supposed to end again, but then you find out like, oh, we're getting bought by Disney, the savior. And then it just turned into, I don't even know. I don't know what it turned into. Like, personally, I don't like the Disney era. Like, it's got his stuff. But the post Zordon era is the best stretch of Power Rangers in Power Rangers history. That Lost Galaxy, Lightspeed Rescue, Time Force, Wild Force era, I don't think they missed. But before I pass the torch to the next person, I just want to say real quickly and real close into the camera, I hate Tommy. Okay? He sucks. He can go kick so many rocks, like the most rocks possible. Okay? Now I'm going to back up and I'm going to say I do not equate my hate for Tommy Oliver with the love for JDF. I do not equate characters with their actors. I love JDF. JDF's the GOAT. But fuck Tommy. And I will concede to Candy. Candy, your turn.
Okay. Okay, so I guess I'm up.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, I'm Candace. I started watching Power Rangers back in 1993 with the first season of Mighty Morphin.
OG.
I'm a Zordon era girl. Been there since day one. I was there for like the 90s Power Rangers mania, like when they had the live stage show tours, all the toys throwing up at us from in Toys R Us, the video games like Like, if you wanted, like, some good Mighty Morphin Power Ranger merch, that was the time to get it. Like, even had Halloween costumes, like, easily available pretty much in, like, Party Cities and things like that. Like, it was, like, almost as big as, like, Batman at the time.
Wow.
Like, let's put this, I have to say, that was the best time to be a Power Ranger fan. Like, it was, like, even, like, an elementary school level, like, it was cool. And you had, to fight to be your favorite Ranger. Like, there wasn't no BuzzFeed quiz or internet quiz to tell you which Power Ranger are you. No, you claimed your Ranger, and you fought to keep it on the playground.
Oh, we might as well reveal. I'm Team Blue all day, every day, twice on Sunday.
I'm Team Pink, obviously. Well, not obvious, but pink all the way.
And then I'm repping the extra Rangers. They are always my favorite.
Just those Six Ranger guys, of course. Of course. I want to ask.
Okay.
Because I want to ask the resident Pink Ranger a question.
All right.
What's up with your girl Kim and doing your boy Tommy the way she did him? I didn't think that was cool at all. I don't even like them.
Okay. Oh my god, there's like so many conspiracy theories on this, depending on if you follow the comics or you just going straight up from the TV series. So like, I read the comics, the Mighty Morphin Power Ranger comics that been coming out like the last couple of years or so. So in the comics, in the Pink Power Ranger miniseries that they had, it was revealed that she actually didn't find another boyfriend when she was training for like the Pan Olympics or whatever Olympics they called in the show. It got too hard for her to maintain a relationship with Tommy. So she wrote the letter and lied to him because it was easier than admitting that the distance is too hard.
That's not a better story.
No, but if you read the mini issue, she does go back and help the team, but she doesn't reveal who she is. So she's there with Tommy, like physically, but there's like a barrier.
So then what that just I know this is a comic story, but just talking about real life relationship stuff. No, it's never better to lie. Never. Especially lying about having another man. What? You didn't have, that wasn't even necessary. If you just wanted to break up.
Well, now this, okay, go ahead. Conspiracy theory in the TV series. Now remember, she shows up back in Power Rangers, the Turbo movie, with Jason.
Oh, they were definitely fucking. You could tell.
So maybe the other guy she started seeing was Jason, because she's not a Ranger anymore. He wasn't a Ranger anymore. So they got something in common there.
That definitely sheds a new light on the Turbo movie once you start looking at it like, oh, Kim was with Jason. And to be honest with you, not even trying to like jump on it, but I definitely kind of always felt some kind of vibe there in the Turbo movie when they popped up together. Like it especially how Jason was talking to Tommy when they were fighting, he was evil. It definitely sounded like he had some jealousy in there. And why would there be jealousy from Jason over Tommy unless it was about a girl? But not just any girl. Arguably, you guys will hear us talk about this on another episode. Arguably the hottest one in Power Rangers history. Like, yeah, there's going to be some fighting there for sure.
Yeah, well, also too, you also turn around and say that same thing when Kimberly like literally kicks the Pink Ranger. She's like, by the way, Pink's out, and like just beats the shit out of her. Like she's jealous. Is like, okay, I broke up with him, but you took my man after. Granted, yeah, it's not her man anymore, even though she broke up with him. But it's just like, seriously, Pink Ranger going out with Tommy. I think it's been done before. Like, girl. Stop picking up my sloppy seconds, cat. Now, if you want to hear the most craziest conspiracy theory out there about the whole maybe Kim-Tommy breakup, I had a friend. He read about this, I think, online and pointed out something to me as well. So, you know how Skull has a kid named Spike? I think it was in Power Rangers Samurai Steel, right? He pops up and hangs with Bulk the entire 2 seasons. Mm-hmm. Right. So apparently if you do the math, around the time that Kim left the team because of too much pink energy, that The theory, no, this is this is not my theory. This is something that's just been floating around. That apparently Kim left it because Kim got knocked up by Skull, and Spike is Kim and Skull's love child.
That none of these stories make Kim look any better than the original story that we were given, because now you're talking about she was cheating on Tommy with Skull and had that man baby on him. And then lied to that man Tommy and said that she met a whole nother dude somewhere else to have this man baby. Like, nah, nah, it's getting worse and worse for your girl right now. Pink Ranger's looking bad right now.
Like, I'm trying to help her out, but like, listen, when that episode happened, I was, oh my god, as a kid, I was super pissed. I was so pissed off. That's the one decision I completely disagreed Kim with that about. When Tommy like that.
That's the only one.
Yeah, that's my only one. At this moment that I can think of.
What did Kim have to do with?
Because obviously, Kim and Tommy are like two peas in a pod. So a lot of stuff I have against Tommy.
Your hate is leaking.
It's not leaking.
Well, we also have to understand, Tommy and Kim were the original Power Ranger couple. They're the ones who started the Ranger.
Fucked it up.
I think they're also the only ones who have a kiss in Power Rangers history as of right now.
Yeah, they had like 2 scenes where they kiss. Like 2, more than 2, I think. Because they had the one, like, by the lake when he asked her to go to the dance. Like, that's when they officially started going out. Mm-hmm. And then, like, I think it's season 2 or season 3, like, Underneath the Mistletoe was, like, one of those Christmas episodes.
I got it.
I don't watch holiday episodes.
Now, at Ernie's Juice Bar. Gotta represent the Juice Bar.
I'm gonna have to check that out, because I don't recall a second kiss. I know about the one by the lake, and I watched the holiday episodes. I like those.
There were at least 2, I remember.
I definitely don't think it was more than 2. But I'm gonna definitely check for that second one for sure, because hopefully in this next generation we're going to get a lot more kissing. Yes, I'm childish.
How do you say that?
Yes, I am childish. I want to see some kissing. Dame, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah. Well, I'm Damien, of course. I'm the youngest out of us all, and I started Power Rangers during the Dino Thunder SPD, Jetix and Disney timeline. That's when I pretty much started. But I loved it so much that I ended up going back and rewatching just about every other series, excluding In Space, because I hate In Space like Wes hates Tommy.
Try to stop stuff.
Honestly, I have reasons, but I believe there's something else. There's some background force that makes me hate In Space so very much.
We're going to find that out.
I put the entirety of every series holiday episodes. I hate them all. I hate them all. Every last one of them.
Nah, we're going to have to dissect that right now. What I can run off a list for Tommy, but you can't possibly have a list for In Space, bro. Like, that's such an excellent storytelling. The characters.
These Power Rangers, In Space was supposed to be the final season. I mean, granted, yes, it was the end of the Zordon era, but In Space did so well in the ratings compared to Turbo that it actually allowed more Power Ranger seasons to continue afterwards.
And I accept how important it was. Hated the Megazord. The Astrozord is my least favorite Megazord in all Power Rangers. The Battleizer was the horrible muscle suit, which I always hate. Psycho Rangers weren't used nearly as much as I want. Did not feel as attached to all the characters as I felt I should be. That's just me personally. I felt RPM did the end of the world thing better. And for me, the suit design is boring.
Okay. I can agree with the muscle suit and the suit designs, because I don't really like the suit either. In terms of the Psycho Rangers, I can see from a writer perspective, from a storytelling perspective, that they were used the proper amount. Because I feel like any more, it would have been too rich. It's like a good cheesecake. You can't just eat a whole cheesecake. It's not a regular cake. You got to eat a slice, maybe 2, and then drink some. What do you even drink with cheesecake? Because I feel like water don't cut it. But drink something with it, wash it
Drink
down.
Say coffee.
cheesecake. It's the coffee. You drink your coffee or your cappuccino with the cheesecake. Okay?
Noted. I will keep that
Sorry
in
for New
mind.
York.
I mean, no, it definitely got the point across that you got to have your coffee and your cappuccino.
In cappuccino. Sorry, my New York showing. There you go. Or my Long Island here.
Like I really do get it. But the Cycle Rangers were done. How long were they there? Like 5, 6 episodes, something like that. Like,
Yeah, I mean, they were there for like a short burst, like probably like you said, 5 or 6 episodes, like a mini story arc within the overall arc of the story, and then they kind of showed again in like Lost Galaxy, and then of course sometimes once in a while in other things.
yeah, I think they were used the right. I think we loved them because they were used so sparingly, and when they were there, they was popping off. Like the biggest part I remember with the Cycle Rangers was that original reveal where it's dark, you got all that electricity, you got the explosion. They were just pretending to be the Rangers, and the sinister robotic kind of laugh, bruh. One of the greatest reveals in Power Rangers history, for sure.
Next to the Green Ranger,
I
the
love
original Green.
I love Tommy, and he was the best when he was green. He does not have the best intro, especially not out of Extra Rangers. He doesn't.
Go Green Ranger! He had his own intro as the Green Ranger.
That is true. The theme song hits.
I mean, not only that, but let's like look it like down. This is the real why the Green Dragonzord Ranger is the coolest Ranger ever. Okay, so first of all, Green Ranger, cool gold shield, right? Got a dragon dagger. He plays it like a flute that comes out like a synthesizer that plays a cool tune to pretty much call up Mechagodzilla as his Dragonzord. I mean, the guy has Mechagodzilla as his fucking Zord. You don't get any cooler than that.
So, bro has cool toys. Whoop-de-doo. Tommy as a Ranger was terrible. Like, if you take away, like, the actual power, the fact that the Sixth Ranger, that the Extra Ranger automatically gets more power, cooler stuff, Tommy would have been an ass Ranger. He was always late, always had his communicator either left, snatched, stolen, lost it, and he just shows up all late. We getting our asses whooped, and now he gets to look like the savior because he's showing up with all the toys. He's showing up to the gunfight with a bazooka, and now we all think he's cool as shit. Like, come on, man. Anybody could have did that.
Hey, listen, his power was limited with the Green Ranger because he had the green candle, and when that thing burned out, his powers were, like, gone because Rita was taking what she gave him back. So it's not just because he was losing to communicate and stuff like that. He had a reserve energy.
What about when that wasn't an issue? What about when his powers were working just fine and he just wasn't there? Because there's many episodes like that. I counted. I paid attention when I rewatched it because I specifically was looking for why does Tommy suck, and that was one of the things I found. You always losing your communicator. You always late for some reason. We're trying to call you. You practicing your martial arts, or you getting jumped in the park, or you tied to a tree because you got jumped by some putties, but you magically escaped somehow and then whoop those same putties' ass, and then you get to go help the rest of the Rangers beat up the giant monster, look like cool ass dude. Like, you can't tell me they didn't just give him the keys to the franchise, because they did. They gave it to him from the start.
It just sounded like you made an argument for Tommy to have ADHD.
You know, it wouldn't be the most surprising theory.
Oh no, now that you say it, it definitely makes a whole lot of sense, and that makes me unable to hate him as much as I would like, considering I'm team ADHD. But still,
like undiagnosed 90s style ADHD.
90s style undiagnosed, but we know you definitely got it.
Because the school don't get the budget to help with the help.
Yeah, the help with the help.
It's accommodations. Yes, so the school budget doesn't have the accommodations for that. And then you can also make the argument, maybe that's why he wasn't picked as the original 5 when Zordon picked his teenagers with attitude. But then again, he wasn't living in Angel Grove at the time either, so there you go.
Can we talk about just the biggest nonsense that is the very essence of what Power Rangers is based off of, teenagers with attitude. Can we just talk about that real for a long time? Because tell me how it makes sense to completely bypass true heroes in society, like a police officer, a firefighter, military dude, like a doctor that goes to martial arts gyms or something. Instead, Zordon, this 1,000-year-old wizard in a tube, wizards who are usually known for
Yeah.
being wise or at the very least a little bit intelligent, says, "Hey, we're about to get attacked by space aliens. You know what we should do? We should hire some teenagers. Teenagers, but not just any teenagers, teenagers with attitude. Because those are the ones that follow direction and know how to have discipline and know how. What? Tell me that doesn't make sense.
I figured it out. Right? The reason why.
Zordon's
I mean, yes, but everyone else had a job. Okay, you couldn't get your adults because they had jobs. They couldn't take off,
That's
and they
true.
wanted to fight whatever monster of the day it was. Okay, and then also they were hurting. Okay, the adults would be in so much pain all the time. At least with the younger ones, they can take a beating. All right.
You gonna
They
tell
have time on their hands, so if they like
Yep.
are off disappearing, the parents are like, "Oh, they must be out with their friends because this is the '90s and we don't have cell phones."
so
The
okay,
absentee parents.
that's a fair assumption for the time. Parents not paying their kids no mind because it's the '90s. That rings a little bit true. But you gonna tell me that you couldn't find five, you couldn't find three men and two women in like their early 20s who already had some kind of experience saving the world, police academy, you know, firefighters exam, practicing nursing degrees, something to where you're still young, but you're an adult that knows what they're doing to an extent. You went and grabbed angsty teenagers who I don't think we saw their angst enough in the original Mighty. I don't think we ever really saw enough angst in most of the Power Ranger shows that we see because they're too busy saving the world and focusing on being cool and being that. But let's be real. You throw five teenagers together on a team and just have them start having to save the world, you're going to run into some problems. They're going to have them with each other. They're going to have them in the field with cohesion and things of that nature. We didn't see enough of that. And we need that. It's important.
Mount.
Dino Thunder, Dino Fury, I think RPM.
RPM's hard to count because RPM's a whole different mood.
But
So
it is, but I also think they at least somewhat captured what it would kind of be like if you had to put some strangers together. Like there's going to be you got Black Ranger constantly running off, not listening. You got crazy Six Rangers popping up out of nowhere, and now they just want to blow everything up. Like you had those problems. It wasn't just now we're a perfect team. Very first battle we whooping ass. Like no, let's see some real development on the team. Make it be worth it that first time they defeat the monster, and not just duh. Let's see more of that.
Would you count? No, because SPD, the only real teen conflict was between Jack and Sky.
That was because Scott was being a little bitch and a little racist, but we ain't gonna talk about that. Fuck it, we're gonna talk about it. Sky was a little racist. He had some racist vibes. Yeah, come on. He did.
I want to be the Red Ranger.
Pout. And we get it.
Yeah.
Your dad was red. You want to be red to follow his footsteps. I get that. But if you can't understand the actual concept of being a Red Ranger, then you shouldn't be one. And that's what Kruger was trying to tell him that entire time.
Hold on. In Sky's defense, how would you feel if you were completely qualified for a job, but your boss selected a criminal to take that position instead? Kate, I
I
feel like you'd be a little upset.
I I agree. I agree. I would be a little upset, but for how long? And then how long is it going to take you to understand the lesson that your commander was trying to teach you of why does it matter who's the leader? What matters is the team and the team and the mission of the team. Like it's nice to want your own it's nice to want your own individual merit, but Power Rangers is all about teamwork. It's all about playing your role. And if your role is stepping to the side and letting the actual leader lead, then that's what you do. It took him literally the entire season to figure that out. And it honestly wasn't
Yeah.
until Jack Lone Sky, the Red Morpher, to capture, I think, the monster that his dad was chasing all these years or something like that, to where I think he actually got through his head like, all right, Jack's kind of cool. I bet you think that now that he lets you hold the keys right fast.
Yeah. Also, too, just because you're a Red Ranger doesn't automatically make you the leader. I mean, there's been times where you had teams led by non-Red Rangers. You know, Tommy, White Tiger Ranger, he was leading the team. You could argue that Time Force Pink was the real leader of the team.
She was.
Yeah.
I know some people would argue it, but I agree. No, that's the time when Pink was in charge.
They're wrong. She was that. I think the showrunners and the writers even said like, yeah, she was supposed to be resemble like the actual leader. Same thing with TJ in space. It wasn't Andros. They said they designed it that TJ was the leader of the Space Rangers, and Andros was like the extra guy that just came in. And you can see remnants of that, honestly, in a lot of the episodes. Like one episode, I know y'all remember the famous joke when Cassie and Ashley was arguing about cleaning, and then they came in there and was like, "What are y'all arguing about?" And they were just yelling, blah 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 blah. Man, I laughed so hard when TJ came in there, grabbed both of them, said, "Sit down," and threw them in a chair. It was like, y'all friends. We got to talk. Yeah, but no, we need more scenes like that. It was a real scene. You know, I don't know how they would feel now because everybody's so soft now. Oh, he touched a woman. Like, no, everybody needs to be grabbed sometimes and sat in the seat and be like, yo, look, you're tripping out a little bit. All right, calm down. And TJ did a really good job of keeping the team together constantly. And a lot of times in the lineup, when they're not in the suits, TJ is in the middle, not Andros. Only when they're in the suits is Andros in the middle. That shows you right there.
Which would make sense because now you're talking about in space. Andros is from space, so he would have the knowledge to lead when it comes to space powers and anything that has to do with space capacity. Now, anything else, of course TJ would lead. You know, him and his people are from Earth. You know, we're dealing with Earth stuff or Earth relationships. So then, you know, this when TJ takes charge. It's more of a like oh god, what's the word I'm looking for? Departmental. You know, departmental leadership. There you go.
Yeah, like a co-op type thing, and
yeah.
That was a lot like Jen and Wes's dynamic as well. Like when they weren't in the suits, it was clear Jen was the one. The four of them are sitting down, and Jen is standing up, pointing to a board like, "This is playing A, B, C, D, E, F, G," and they playing, passing popcorn behind their backs and sneaking it in their mouths when she not looking, and she just scolding them like it. Those types of instances that let you know who's actually in charge. Then of course they get in the suits. Because of Sentai footage, Red is in the middle. He's calling the shot in the cockpit. But we all know Jen was the leader. That was as clear as day.
Yep.
Which, let me ask y'all. There's rumors in the new generation that they're going to start leaning away towards Red always being the leader. How do y'all feel about that?
I mean, it depends on how they do it. That's what it really comes down to, the writing.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I have to see it.
Yeah, because I mean, you could go back through all these series, and there's been episodes or times where you had a different ranger stepping up and kind of leading charge for whatever, you know, extenuating circumstances for that reasoning instead of, you know, your traditional leader. for that series, so it's not like it's something that hasn't been done before. I think it's just hasn't been done for like an entire series.
Good day.
It's really because of how long Power Rangers is going on and the characterization of the coloring. It's really difficult for me to imagine a leader that isn't a Red Ranger simply because I'm like, yep, red's the color of the leader. Why 20-something years of this show has told me red is the leader, excluding, your few options. It'll have to be done well enough to get the people who resist change to accept it.
I personally think they should keep Red as the leader because, and again, it's just for me personally, and I'm pretty sure this is how a lot of people see it too. It's not just because you're Red, you're the leader. It's or you're not the leader because you're Red. It's more like you're Red because you're the leader. You exemplify that aura of a leader, and that's just the color a leader is. Like that, as his leader. As an empath myself, some people can see people's aura colors and people's certain auras have the same vibe. And you're like, oh, you remind me of this person. Not because you look like them and not even necessarily because you act like them, but something about you gives off that same energy. And that's what I like to think when I think of the Ranger colors. You exhibit this kind of energy. Like, that's why a lot of the Ranger colors exhibit a lot of the same personality traits. Like, blue's usually like the smart one or the reserved one. Pink is like usually the girly girl, or yellow is usually more like the tomboy, and black's usually the cool one or the tough one. And that's just the vibe that you give off. And I'm not saying it has to keep it so simple and plain like that, but I think that is part of what makes Power Rangers is the colors, individual positions on the team.
Yeah, and if you want to dive deeper into that, like, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Power Rangers tabletop role-playing game by Renegade Studios, because they really break down, like, kind of like the role of each color spectrum within Power Rangers, per se. Like, red's kind of like your tank. He could take the hits. That's why Red is always in front, because he could take the hits that some of the other Rangers can't. And the Black Ranger can take some of those hits as well, but he is also able to do long range and short range. They could take long range and short range weaponry, and also they're kind of like the we got this, guys. Let's do. Like, they're like the ones that pump up the rest of the group. And then you usually have your yellow Rangers. Your fast goes in there quick, pops, and then runs back out. Then you have, like, your blue is more of your guy that's very in tune more with the morphing grid, so they could figure out and strategize, quicker, or, like, know which weapons to call on for certain things, like, because, like, blue is, like, more, like, has the closest connection to the morphing grid than any other Ranger in the team. That's why blue's always considered, like, the smartest. That's why most of the time you see blues being the techie guys. Because being a blue ranger, you got, like that extra knowledge, extra grid knowledge, so to speak. And then your pink ranger, they traditionally have, like, long range weapons, so they're kind of like the sniper in the back, just taking pot shots out. Am I missing a ranger?
The extra.
Yeah, the extra ranger. That's usually your lone wolf that shows up once in a blue moon.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's it. That's actually how, because I did my own little characterization of the colors, and that's verbatim pretty much what I wrote. The Sixth Ranger shows up late, has all the cool toys, extra powerful. Red is just the cool, charismatic one. Takes a licking, like it. They've made it obvious. They designed it like that for 30 years, and I don't think they should really stray away from that in the new generation. I really think they should keep red as the color. I think it'll create even more drama when the leader changes, and then so does the color. And I think that'll create even more conflict if you make it so the leader is going to be red. So when you see the leadership dynamic start to change, you'll see the color swapping, and that'll make people lose their mind, because I don't think we've ever had a color swap in the middle of a season. I think it's always been like the next season we'll do the color swap because somebody left, but never like we started this way, and before we get to the end, we're gonna switch
I
somebody out.
mean, you could argue that it kind of happened. It happens for at least one Ranger in Cosmic Fury, one or two Rangers, I should say.
And that's only because Cosmic Fury was its own thing, you know. And even if it was
Yeah.
technically Dino Fury Part 3, like I said, it's still not like it started off as you're red, and then in the middle, halfway through, we're just going to change it for whatever reason. Like Part 3
Right.
of Dino Fury or Cosmic Fury was always meant to be more or less its own entity, and that's why colors get changed. That's what happened when In Space happened, because In Space is different from Turbo. So he didn't get demoted. I know that's the big talk, but he didn't get demoted. He just color changed the leader. Um,
Mhm.
I would say maybe the only person that maybe happened to was Tommy, but again, like he completely left, like he was gone, and then he came back, and then they gave him a different color, and then they didn't give him red.
Yeah, because that was like a whole storyline thing. Because he lost his green powers,
Mm-hmm.
then Zordon made a White Ranger power thing for him, and he became the White Ranger. And then they went all like Zeo, and then he became the Red Zeo Ranger, and then Red Turbo.
Exactly.
Dino Thunder. Time's just going through the rainbow of the spectrum at this point.
And also with the Cosmic Fury thing, there was technically no Red Ranger in Cosmic Fury. So it wasn't really a color swap. It was more like a taking of the
Filling the
color.
position.
Yeah.
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 Phil-
Now, exactly. If Zato had came back as red and then they switched it, you could have counted. But Zato was already technically a different color. He was a White Ranger. So I don't know. I think they should keep it. So that's going to lead me to a very important question. I feel like we can take this question to the end, really. Very important question
Mhm.
that I feel like everybody should ask themselves as a fan. What do you want them to see take over to the new generation from the old generation? You want to see the colors, or the explosions, the poses? Like, what do you want to see them carry over?
It's morphing time. You have
I
to
mean-
say it's morphing time. You have to. It ain't Power Rangers unless you say it's morphing time.
Certain things are just automatic. That's not even part of the discussion. If they don't say it's morphin time, nobody's going to watch, period.
Oh, go ahead.
Serious. It needs to be serious, okay? Because what I don't need is what happened with Morbius, where it's Morbin time. I need seriousness with its Morbin time.
That doesn't fit, period. Like, even in the comic, it don't fly. So,
Like, I feel like it's a rule in Power Rangers. If you don't say it's morphing time, then you can't morph.
but if you don't say it's morphin time, then it ain't morphin time. So, that's just how it goes. But no, for me, that's automatic. There are certain things. Okay, let's start there then. What do y'all think they have to bring over? This morphin time is one, for sure. I think the individual colors, I think,
Yeah, definitely. You have to have individual colors. Not everyone can be pink
no, it's the individuality.
Rangers.
That would be nice to see if they were all women.
That'd be pretty cool.
But
Like Forever Pink.
Pink would be dope.
Yeah.
forever anything at this point would be amazing. So what I don't want them to see, I will say, is a Megazord fight well, the new episodes are apparently going to be like an hour long, so maybe about 8-10 episodes. So I guess in this case, a Megazord fight at the end would be more earned than just something happen, fight, oh, I'm losing, get big, and then I lose some more, and then explosion. Like, I think giving them a good 40 minutes to an hour to actually build up to the Megazord fight will make it much more yummy when the time comes.
Well, also, too, now the fact that they're going to make these episodes an hour, you can really just follow the Rangers outside of being Rangers, like the people behind, underneath the helmet, in a sense. So you have like a little bit of, you can play around with in the stories a little bit of the drama of trying to balance being a ranger and then your regular life, whether it be school, holding a job, and the people you have to lie to because you can't reveal that you're a Power Ranger. prime example, in the Mighty Morphin Power Ranger comics, before Kimberly was going out with Tommy, she was going out with a guy named Matt. And when she became a ranger, she had to lie to him of why she was disappearing and things like that. And it put a strain in a relationship to the point that they broke up.
Kim just doesn't need to date anybody, it sounds like.
Complicated.
Like she's really your classic hot girl, like total dime piece, 10 out of 10, beautiful face, rockin' bod, personality is trash. You just can't be with her. You just can't be with her.
She might have a trash personality. She was a complicated woman.
She didn't quite know what she wanted.
Well, she was a teenager. What teenage girl knows what they want?
Yes, keep up the excuses, because that totally explains how she's Ranger Slayer, because she's so not confused anymore as an adult.
In her defense, she went through a lot.
Yes, as Ranger Slayer, she went through some shit. I mean, some shit.
Look, all I
Ranger
hear is
comics.
a bunch of excuses being made. The fact is, not any point in time. No, it doesn't matter. Not at any point in time, whether it be in the middle, in the beginning, or the end. Kim has never shown any real good personality traits that I've seen. None. She's always been a dick. Maybe she's less of a dick in the comics, but the fact that you even have to read the comics to figure out how much of a dick Kim wasn't lets you know how much of a dick she was.
It was the 90s. Everyone was dicks.
You can argue that the 90s was a little dicky, but even still, she was a really big dick. Like, yeah, like a porn star one.
Wait,
Dude, she was Callie from the Valley.
Yeah, classic Valley girl. Makes her even more of a dick. Because now you trying to sound all innocent with your little, like, oh my god, like, okay, like, whatever. Like, it hits the ear wrong.
it's hard to defend Kimberly because I was never the biggest fan.
She weren't there when it first came around.
No, I can understand. No,
I'm sorry, 93?
I
I was 7 going on 8 in 93, okay?
like,
you had to be there.
I mean, no, I get the hype around Kim. I do. I'm not saying I don't see it or I don't get it. But that's half of my argument is that she wasn't what y'all think she was. You didn't know any better. You were a child. You saw a pretty girl on the screen doing flips and kicks and beating up monsters, and you were like, yeah, that's enough for me. And it was.
And she got the hot guy.
I mean, you can argue that the hot one of the group was Jason, but you know, she got a hot guy. That's fine.
No.
I'm sorry, Power Ranger crush. I know this is going to sound so weird. I had a crush on Skull when I was a kid. I know.
The crazy
Jacket, I don't know.
jacket? Is it just a leather jacket? That's all you need?
He was missing.
Whole thing, good cheekbones.
More than this. I'm missing way more than this.
I don't know. And then Adam showed up, and I was like, "Hey, Adam, how you doing?"
Adam,
Yeah.
oh,
Second season Black Ranger.
cool
The-
and
The
mysterious,
quiet little emo guy before there was emo.
sweet as pie too.
Understandable.
That's our boyfriend for sure. That's us. I'm not gay, by the way, people. I am totally straight, but I can recognize a fine work of art. Okay, that's all.
Mhm.
That's it. And that's all. And Adam, oh man, top to bottom, like that pretty face, had a nice little earring, little curly hair, and he's just all sweet and
Mhm.
innocent with the soft eyes and the soft voice. But he could also like whoop the shit out of you. One of the most dangerous fighters in Power Rangers history. Oh.
Hey,
Oh.
you like that strong, quiet types.
Yeah. That's the stuff.
Silent type, I should say. Here you go. Strong and silent.
Yeah.
To be fair, Billy wasn't too bad either. It's just
Oh,
that
he was good looking too.
how heavily they were pushing the nerd thing.
Yeah.
And, like, Billy was pretty good looking himself.
Yeah. Season 3 Billy and Zeo Billy was kind of hot for sure. Like, lost the glasses, and even got the blue eyes and the feathered hair, and he started to get a little shredded himself. Like, okay. Nerdy
Yeah.
Billy.
It's like the nerd was like shredding off like the nerd look. Like the nerd was de-nerding himself in a way. Like that stereotypical nerd.
but he did it organically. That's what made you appreciate
Yeah.
it. Billy did it organically. He didn't just pop up the next season and be a different guy. Like you saw him working on it. You saw him transitioning. You saw when he took the glasses off. You saw when he was working on his martial arts and he learned that move. You saw when he had to conquer his fear, climb that, or what that was Trini. But you get it. You saw him. You saw
Yeah.
his growth. You know what I mean? So we need that organicness
You could
in the
probably,
next generation.
I mean, you could probably argue that probably throughout Power Rangers, probably Billy did have like one of the more like overgrowing, like his character. He had more character growth than most
He had
in that aspect too.
he had more time to grow. If it
Yeah.
wasn't for Tommy always coming back, I think Billy would have had the longest tenure. He technically does have the longest tenure of the original team because Tommy came a little later. But yeah, Billy was Billy is goated, man. Billy is why I'm a Blue Ranger. You know what I'm saying? Little black boy, everybody wanted to be Zach. Everybody wanted to be the Black Ranger, the cool guy, the one that dances and doesn't do too bad with the ladies, you know what I'm saying? That's what they wanted. That's what the group around me wanted. Me, I wanted to be a genius. I wanted to build the flying car and that goes to different dimensions. I wanted to build the dope ass communicators that allows us to transport. That's what I wanted to do.
I was like more towards the Pink Ranger because you have to stand in the 90s at the time. It was very heavy on the Barbie aesthetic when it comes to who's the pretty, like who was always like kind of like the pretty girl, which is the blonde hair, blue eyed, like aesthetic of Barbie. And then Kimberly kind of comes around and she has like, darker natural tan, brown hair, brown eyes, like more, darker, like it's, I would say more like Italian features in a sense. And then she's considered the hot one. And it's like, now I feel like I could be the hot one and not just the best friend to the hot girl kind of deal. And also, too, who wouldn't want to wear a pretty dress while kicking someone's ass?
More like a skirt, but, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't think,
Listen,
hey, I'm not complaining. I'm just saying. I'm just saying, like, it's a little short to be some dresses, but she wore pants underneath, but yeah, she wore
well, yeah, in the 90s those were called skirts. So it's like shorts, like you wore shorts underneath your skirt, so they were skirts. Trying to back in the day.
No, in my generation, the skirts was one thing. Like the skirt, it was a skirt in the front, but then the shorts were out in the back. So it was literally just shorts with like a fake skirt over top of it on the front, like a loincloth. That's our skirts. That's what I grew up on. Just the long loincloth down the front, and then the back you can just see the legs. It's just like, oh wait, what? Weren't you wearing a skirt just now? I'm sorry.
For us back in the 90s, the skirt was like it was like, it was sewn together, but like you didn't see the shorts underneath
which is probably a much better design.
Like you didn't see the shorts underneath unless, you did a cartwheel and you're like, woo, there they are.
Yeah, and that was definitely Kim doing cartwheels and doing splits. Yeah, she was. Yeah, she was. That's a fun point. Not a fun point, but that's an interesting point. How we all kind of view Power Rangers the same way in a different way. Like you're talking about the dark-haired girl who can now be the pretty girl, and for us, it's more like, oh, the dark-skinned boy can be a hero. We don't have to have a gun pointed in our face by people who are supposed to be protecting us. We can actually jump into the fray and protect those who can't protect themselves. Seeing yourself in that new light. It's a very unifying concept for Power Rangers to have this many different perspectives, but for all of them to be so cohesive at the root of it, which is everybody just wants to be accepted. That's the basis of Power Rangers. And I found that that's what most of the fans feel is like that Power Rangers made them feel accepted in some way, shape, or form. And I think that's amazing.
Accepted and badass.
Yeah, because accepted is just I am me allow me to be here. But then allow me to be here, but also I'm the coolest one here. Like that, you asking for the moon and the stars. That's what Power Rangers gave us. They gave us that feeling of, yeah, I can continue to be who I am and I can be cool doing it. Like I don't gotta change. Like I found, and this is just my own numbers that I've crunched. I've noticed that if you're a Power Rangers fan, you fall into one of three categories. You were either bullied of the LGBT community or you're on the spectrum. You fall in one of those three categories I've noticed. Which one are you guys? I was bullied, team bully.
I was also team bullied.
I would probably say I was team bullied, but then again, I kind of brought it upon myself because when I was in elementary school, I was a little know-it-all Hermione Granger. Like, I had to have all straight A's, raising my hand in class, bringing friends their homework when they're faking sick from school.
Oh, you pretty much asked for it. Nah, I'm just playing. I'm playing. But nah, but that's definitely like the archetype of those who were you the one who would remind the teacher that they had homework?
No, I actually kept my mouth shut about that one. Because I did not want to do homework, because one, I felt like it was not necessary for myself, and two, it would take away time from my extracurricular activities, such as dance and martial arts.
Then you're good. You think you're good. Like that's the main thing I feel like. Is like if you remind the teacher we got homework, you suck. Like you suck. Why would you do that? Well, I did it. You guys should have did it. No, that's not the point at all. It's all for one and one for all. Power Ranger rules. Hell yeah. You like Power Ranger rules. One for all for one. If one of us gets blown up, we all get blown up. That's how it works.
That's why I enjoyed the Six Rangers. We're part of the group, but also we're not part of the group.
Man, Six Rangers would definitely be my secondary choice for like that exact same reason. You can just show up whenever you want and then be badass with it. Like you show up with the shiny toys, your own freaking Zord. They get their own Zords. Everybody else got to share. They get their own Megazord. I'm sorry, let me specify. Everybody gets a Zord. They get their own Megazord. A Zord that transforms into a Megazord on its own and can fight the monster by himself in a solo cockpit. They get the coolest stuff. Even the Zords look better.
Yeah, that's why, like, after Pink, after Pink, I would go with Mighty Morphin Green. I'm sorry, the Dragon Zord, enough said. I just want the Dragon Zord, maybe the cockpit. You just stand in front of the side of the building, just play your synthesized flute and call it a day.
Going in the cockpit is half the fun.
Yeah. Especially
yeah, but then you can get blown up with your Zord if the emergency, hatch doesn't work.
Oh, all for one and one for all. You go down with the ship. Captain's rules.
Survival of the smartest, let's go.
But also, if you had a certain level of strength, you could get out of that cockpit. Tommy tore people out of cockpits, okay?
That's true. That's actually when he first appeared as the Green Ranger. He came into he pulled up, he opened the hatch in the Megazord, goes in, punches Yellow right in the face, hey, what up, bitches? Pow! And then starts throwing them all out.
First of all,
and they're all like, what the hell just happened?
No, you cannot give evil Tommy feet to Tommy. Because everybody knows that when you're evil, your powers grow exponentially. That's not your base power level when you're evil. You know he was souped up off the juice when he was fighting them for that 5 part. You can't count that.
When it comes to influence of Power Rangers, I completely disagree. I believe that the strength and power is there. It's just that your morals are out the window. That empathy you have for others, that morality, this is wrong, I shouldn't do this, is gone. Exactly.
I call it the Superman argument. The reason why Batman can beat up Superman. It's not because Batman is stronger, but it's that when you're talking about a fight, you're not just talking about the skill level of your opponent. You're talking about your opponent's mentality as well. That's why a little dog could beat a big dog's ass, because the little dog got that dog in him. That mentality that says, I'm about to be scrapping, I'm about to whoop your ass. That's Batman. Superman is that big, fluffy, that just wants to be friends with everybody. Like, yeah, you got all the strength in the world, but you're not using it because your mentality is off. Like, you got to take that to effect. So that's why evil, yes, is always stronger. So you can't give evil, because evil Tommy and base Tommy are definitely two different guys. Like, both idiots,
Yes,
but
that
still two different guys.
Although I will admit, like, I love the Shattered Grid storyline in the comics with evil Tommy staying evil. Like, I don't know if you haven't read the storyline, but like, spoiler alert, when he stayed evil, like, he made a great villain. Like, one of the best.
Yes.
also
Lord. Oh yeah, the suit was dope. The
Yeah.
suit the suit alone, I think, would pull in outsiders back to Power Rangers. But for them to do Lord Draken, they really got to build to that. They have to treat him like they got to treat him like Thanos. Like, you got to have like two other Avengers movies before you get to Draken. Like, you gotta have like two other Power Ranger team ups before you even get to Shattered Grid. And then that'll make it so much more work, so much more satisfying. It's about the stories, it's about the writing. That's the one thing I really hope we see in the next generation. It's much better writing and storytelling. Fleshed out characters, actual consequences. Like, that's what we need.
Well,
That's what's
that's
going to
what we're
build us
seeing
up.
in the Rangers. Like, if they just took the writers, for the comic book writers, and give them the show, there you go.
Yes, I've been
Done right
saying
there.
that. I've been saying that for years now. Treat the Power Ranger comics like anime does with the manga. Just literally just adapt that exact same story, the exact same animation, everything. All you're doing is filling in the gaps. You'll save money, you'll save time, and you can actually focus on putting out a really good product because you don't got to rack your brain around it.
Yeah. And also, like, too, because the comics have, like, even, like, newer villains as well that weren't around before. I mean, you have the Death Ranger, which is like a zombie Power Rangers, which is scary as shit.
It's a
You
lot of
know,
cool
like
stuff.
Walking Dead met Power Rangers, enough said.
see that's something I want more in like upcoming Rangers. It's not just have it so that the Rangers aren't just fighting monsters all the time. Like I want more Ranger on Ranger fights, whether that be because there's team disagreements, whether that be because there are evil Rangers. Like I want fights with other Rangers. Like I think that's one of the reasons why I wanted more of the Psycho Rangers because it's just like I want battles that aren't just another monster.
Yeah, I mean, look, Lost Galaxy, Psycho Pink took out Lost Galaxy Pink, in a way.
That too. That's what I mean by consequences. Not just, oh no, they're hurt, but we know they're probably going to come back later. No, I think if they really want to break the mold out the gate, that first season, kill off one of the Rangers from the team. Dead ass. Just murder one of them in like the finale or like in the penultimate episode and just like, and keep them dead. Don't not know saved by the morphin grid. Like, no, like murder them, have them go down in battle, sacrificing themselves as a real ranger would. And then we'll take you serious. Now we're like, oh no, they're about to get into a fight. Somebody could die. We actually care now. And not just, man, wax this nigga's ass so we can go. Like, we not, now it's like, oh, we might not wax his ass this time. We might actually get our asses waxed instead. Like, we need that.
I want to see Rangers lose fights too.
Whooped, whooped,
Mm-hmm.
whooped. I want it to be honest, to keep it honest and from like a storytelling method, you should have them lose literally most of the fights and only pretty much win the important one. Kind of like how Goku does it. How he loses most of the time, but he pulls out his ass in the end and gets the dub.
Like, especially, like, in the beginning when they're just, like, learning.
Oh,
Like, they just got their powers and they're, like, learning, like, how to use this shit.
yes.
I've never wielded a sword before. Stick it with the pointy end, right? Like,
Thank you. And how
Yeah.
Rangers just miraculously have these skills once they multiply. I can understand being stronger, being faster, but now you whipping that weapon around like you already know what you're doing. No, that comes from a mental state, not a physical state.
okay, devil's advocate on that one. Okay, this is something I learned from the Power Rangers RPG core rulebook. Apparently, when you're a Power Ranger, like, you gain knowledge from the morphin grid on how to use weapons and things like that.
You know,
The morphing grid needs to be explained more. Like,
It's like
all
the
the
Force.
way. Yeah,
I was
see,
about
that's
to say
an
that.
issue.
Yeah.
As someone who's been studying the Power Rangers morphin grid since 1993, it's more like the Force. It is part of the energy that combines the universe together that can be used for either good or bad. You have the morphing grid, that exudes positive, heroic energy, and then you have void energy, which is like negative, and what villains are usually used against the Power Rangers. It's the yin and yang, the dark and light side of this, in a way.
Yeah, that's that void energy thing is relatively new. Like I know, 30 years of canon that you gotta kind of gotta combine and make sense. You gotta
Yeah.
start adding and stuff. But I do like that concept of having the morphin energy than having the void energy. And I definitely always thought that they're turning the morphin grid into a lot like the force. Like it works in mysterious ways. Like there is no real rule book to
Yeah.
it. You can do what you want because of the morphin grid. It can just manifest energy. It can bring people back to life. Why did this happen? Oh, the morphin grid works in mysterious ways. What do we know? But now it's about to start getting lucky because now you have morphin masters. What is their job? Are they controlling the grid? Are they protecting the grid? What exactly is the morphin master's job?
Guardians of the grid. I think they're like guardians of the grid, because you could turn around and say, like, for example, Psycho Rangers, or Rangers that got bad, or Rangers that got corrupted. Now, if they could be corruptible, then so is the morphin grid could be. So I would assume the morphin master's job was either to contain, try not to allow that corruption to happen, or contain much of that corruption as possible, so the morphin grid itself doesn't become corrupted, and then every other ranger would become corrupted as well.
That would actually be a really interesting storyline. Like, I was just thinking about this, the whole void energy. Like, I think in the future it would be really cool to have, like, one of these new Rangers experience something truly horrible, and, like, for their energy to be corrupted, and they start using void energy instead of morphing energy.
Like the Sith.
And, like, have it so that they actually, like, go, like, you can watch as they become an evil person, and suddenly they're using their powers for their own personal reasons instead of, I think that'd be.
Yeah, like just like that's the real difference between the Jedi and the Sith, is that Jedi are more focused on not necessarily doing good per se, but not using the Force for personal reasons. While the Sith use the Force as more like a tool. And I think that can very easily be translated into like the Power Ranger world, because it's revolving around saving the world and helping others. And then it's real easy in today's society to be selfish because the whole world sucks and everybody's going through the BS together. So you have this traumatic thing happen to you, and now your energy kind of shifts. You don't have the excess energy that you need to help the world. You can only focus on yourself. So now you're a little more selfish. So that'll easily allow you to slip into that more evil side slowly but surely. That would be, they could touch on it, but like I said, you gotta know the franchise of Power Rangers to do it, which is always going to be the concern when it comes to making Power.
Yeah.
Or it's just going to have to, I don't know. I guess that really is just the main thing. Like we don't have, unlike Star Wars, who has everybody on it working on it is a fan of Star Wars. Watch Star Wars, either grow up in the original trilogy, the prequel trilogy. You watch Star Wars. But for Power Rangers, more like you're just finding some person who knows how to write, and you're telling them to write the story for Power Rangers. Study up this really quickly. But you can't just study Power Rangers. You got to really experience it. You got to understand where it comes from. Like I said, as fans, we all share a certain thing that makes us want to be a Power Ranger, and that's, like I said, at the basis of it, acceptance. And then you have the whole point of the diversity, which is what Power Rangers bring. The diversity, while exhibiting the teamwork along with the individuality. Like same suits but different colors, you know, same morpher, different weapons. Like team, the same but different, pretty much signifying what we really are as a human race, which is the same but different.
Right. But it's also going to be interesting, too, because, like, now there's been over about 31 years of Power Rangers at this point. Like, when Power Rangers first came out, they were just using stock footage from Japan's Super Sentai series, and they were just filling in the gaps on their own. And then over time, they started writing their own original stories with certain series, so it's, to an extent. So now it's going to be like, okay, since we're not going to be using Super Sentai stock footage, we're going to be, like, literally filming our own footage, and then you could literally stock writers with people who've grown up with the series now, who have that love, who might have that love and compassion for like some the writers for Star Wars do. So, you know, I mean, look at the example, the writers for the comics. You could definitely tell they're Power Ranger fans. Like, they grew up with it. Now they get to write for it. You know, the storylines we wish we eventually saw as we got older. So now it's, you know, like, we could probably see that. There's potential for that.
Yeah. All right. I guess that's a decent place for us to kind of leave off at. Yeah, but we're going to talk about a lot of this stuff over again. We're going to dissect a lot of what Power Rangers is, a lot of what we expect from the new generation, a lot of what brings us to the table of Power Rangers. Because it goes a lot deeper than what we can talk about in just a 1 hour episode. So it's 30 years. 30 years of 30 plus years of Power Rangers, you know. And that y'all don't realize that's a long time. Like, that's a really long time to do anything, to be anywhere, to have anything for that long, to follow anything for that long. 3 decades. 3 decades. Like, you in 3 decades, you can get 3 generations. Like, we're assuming, like, maybe you were a child when the original Power Rangers came out, but maybe you were a teen. Maybe you were watching when you were 16 in 1993. And now you're reaching grandparent age and your oldest child just had their firstborn child, you know, and now you're a grandparent Power Ranger watcher and you can introduce it to the next 2 generations after you. And then it's going into it. Anyway, yeah, we're going to get into all of that much deeply. We hope you guys join us. We're going to do rankings as well. That's going to be the fun stuff that we're going to do. It's going to be a lot of arguing going on there. So be prepared for that. Yeah, this is really just going to be different generations of fans talking about the franchise that we've grown to love over the course of 30 plus years.
Over our lifetimes.
Yeah. 2 of the 3 people on this podcast were not born yet when Power Rangers came out. That's a long time. That's a long time.
Oh, I honestly remember when, like, they announced the series and everything like that. I remember when I was a kid, it came out on Fox, and it was like, you know, and it was just like, oh, next show is going to be like Mighty Morphin Power Rangers coming out, and you're like, what the fuck is this shit? And then you watch it and you're like, when's the next episode coming out again?
She's like, this shit.
I know, especially the theme song. I mean, first of all, like, it didn't have to hit as hard as it did.
Yeah, it had to.
You know, there was nothing like it for a kid's show. Everything else was just mostly like cartoons or Pee-wee's Playhouse and Sesame Street.
Mm-hmm.
Or, you know, it's either cartoons or, you know, like I said, Pee-wee's Playhouse or Sesame Street, and that was really it. There wasn't really anything like action-packed children's show at that time. If you wanted an action-pack at that time, you were watching Batman the Animated Series or X-Men or Spider-Man.
That's another thing that's going to be fun for us to dive into is realizing what has come and gone in those same 30 years while Power Rangers has been kicking, how much the world has changed, how much TV has changed, how much Hollywood has changed, how much you have changed since you first started watching it. Like, it's so much.
Technology alone.
That's going to be a big thing in this next generation. How is AI and 4K going to affect And CGI, how's that going to affect what we see? We got time. We have time. We got like another year at least before we see anything new. It is early April at the first sign of this recording, so we're gonna unpack a lot, and we hope you guys come on this journey with us and stay with us when the new journey begins. You just finished watching Generations of the Grid. I'm Wes.
I'm Candace.
I'm Damien.
And may the power protect you.